Hi everyone, my name is Alex Dresco, and in this video I am going to show you Chocolatey Hotkey. Chocolatey Hotkey is a package manager that I wrote for AutoHotkey, and it runs off of Chocolatey. So if you're not sure what Chocolatey is or what package managers are, you can go to chocolatey.org and read all about it. Essentially, you can see that with typing these very simple commands, you can install Chocolatey packages. You can install all kinds of software because of Chocolatey. So I just happen to have figured out how to put AutoHotkey scripts into Chocolatey and turn that into a package manager. And that makes it so it's easy for you to package and distribute and maintain the AutoHotkey scripts that you want to package and distribute. It's nice. And to show you how it works, just real quickly, I will open up a administrative command prompt and I will install a package. Now the AutoHotkey script I'm going to install for this example looks like this. I'm assuming that you know that you're at least familiar with AutoHotkey. This particular plugin I'm going to install, if I type DT, anywhere I type DT, it will basically take the current date and time and spit it out on the screen. So to install this package, which I've already pushed to Chocolatey, I'll type choco install chk. All Chocolatey Hotkey packages start with chk. Default is the name of the host that the plugin will run in, and as I explain more about Chocolatey Hotkey, that will make more sense. And then the name of the plugin that we want to install. In this case, I know that the name of the plugin is DT for date time. And the Y just tells Chocolatey to yes for all of the prompts that it normally presents. So we press enter, we wait, oops, in this particular case I have to type the version. So here we go, it's going out, figuring out what dependencies are installed and installing the package, and now we can see that if I type DT, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. And we can see now that down here in the system tray we have a new host running, a Chocolatey Hotkey host called default, if you look at the end at the name of the file. And that corresponds with the default that I typed whenever I installed this plugin. So that's what it takes to install a Chocolatey package, a Chocolatey Hotkey package plugin. Terminology I'm still getting used to, and I've spent a lot of time trying to make this work, and I still haven't quite mastered it. So that's how you install a plugin. Very simple, of course. Now I will show you how easy it is to create a new Chocolatey Hotkey plugin. So to do this, I'm going to create a new directory to play in. I'm just going to call it chk. So I've got a directory here. Alright, so I want to demonstrate creating a Chocolatey Hotkey plugin. It's very simple. And in this example, I have already installed all of the tools. I just want to show you how quickly you can create a plugin in a typical kind of situation. I'll show you how I went through the process of creating the date time plugin that you saw previously. I would have typed yo because I'm using Yeoman to script out the or to scaffold the basic structure of a plugin, and you can read more about Yeoman at yeoman.io. But essentially, I have a Chocolatey Hotkey Yeoman generator, so I would initiate that. I want to create a plugin, and I do want to run in the default host, and I probably created the ID as DT for date time, and the title of this thing is DT for to display the date and time. We'll just use the same summary and the same description, and the version is 1.0. My name is Alex Dresco. This is the project URL for my Chocolatey Hotkey packages, and it remembers a lot of these things, so I just accept it. A space separated list of tags for this. I would just say maybe date and time, and then there you go. It just generated all of the code that's necessary for a base plugin. And really the only thing you have to look at is this new spec file here. And I'm just going to close some things out. So you see that it's entered the ID. It's done all of the work for you. For now, we'll ignore that, and we'll look at the tools directory where we have all of these auto hotkey files, and these are the files that you'll put your plugin code in. In this particular case, I probably put the code in the hotkeys file, so we can open up that file and just paste in our auto hotkey script code here. We need to come back to our console, and we'll change directories to our plugin directory. And you'll see we have some PowerShell files, that make things a little bit easier. Well, first we have to package the plugin. It's packaged, and then we can run a test install, and it will go through and install the package and get it running in Chocolatey Hotkey. And now it's running. Now I can type DT, and there's my date and time. I can also test uninstall the package. It does kind of exactly what you would expect. And now when I type DT, it does not work as expected. And then when I'm ready to publish the package to Chocolatey, all I have to do is run the push script, and bam, there it goes. Our date time package is now successfully published to Chocolatey Hotkey. And from that point, I can go to my mom's computer, as we talked about previously, and I can type choco install chk default dt for date time version 1.0.0, yes, and then we just watch the magic happen. It's installed. I type dt, oops, I shouldn't have pressed tab. I type DT and that is our plugin running. Okay, so now that you've seen how quickly and easily you can create new Chocolatey Hotkey plugins, it really only takes 2 or 3 minutes if you've prepared your auto hotkey script and you've got all your tools and things set up. It really couldn't be any easier. But what I've done now is reverted this virtual machine back to a time when it did not have anything installed. It is basically a brand new computer, and I am going to walk through the process of getting your development environment set up so that you too can create Chocolatey Hotkey packages. It's very simple. You go to chocolatey.org and here on the homepage of chocolatey.org you can copy this into a new administrative console. So just paste it in there. That's really all it takes to install Chocolatey. It's going out and doing all of the things that it needs to do to install Chocolatey. This can take, 30 seconds or so, not too bad. Alright, so Chocolatey is installed and we can verify that. The next thing we'll need to do is install Yeoman, and Yeoman is it's a scaffolding tool. If you go to yeoman.io, you can read all about Yeoman and what it does. Essentially, there are a lot of things that it can generate out, so you don't have to type a bunch of code by hand. To install Yeoman, you type, we need npm. Fortunately, we can rely on Chocolatey to install npm. So choco install node.js. npm is part of node.js, so we'll just run this command. You can see that it is downloading Node from the nodejs.org site. Takes just a few minutes. Okay, Node is installed, and if I remember correctly, yes, I have to exit and restart my console. So there we go, npm is installed. I type npm install globally yo. So npm is very similar to Chocolatey. It's very, very similar. If you know anything about npm, then you know a whole lot about Chocolatey and Chocolatey Hotkey. Chocolatey Hotkey, npm, and Chocolatey are all package managers. While this is installing, the instructions for installing Yeoman are here on the Yeoman page somewhere. So Yeoman's installed. Now we need to install our Chocolatey Hotkey Yeoman generator. And you do that with npm install globally generator Chocolatey Hotkey. Again, this is a brand new computer, so this is everything that you need to do to get up and running with Chocolatey Hotkey. Incidentally, it's everything that you also need to do to get up and running with Node.js, npm, Chocolatey, and in the long term, auto hotkey. Okay, so the Chocolatey Hotkey Yeoman generator has been installed. We can see that if we type yo, sure, we'll allow it to do whatever it wants. And you see we can select that we want to run the Chocolatey Hotkey generator. And we have three options here of things that we can create with Chocolatey Hotkey. The first thing we're going to create is a plugin, because that's what I said we're going to create. Actually, I'm going to cancel out of that, and I'm going to use Chocolatey to install Sublime Text 3, because that is just going to be a little helpful for me here. So I've got Sublime installed. Sublime. Now, the particular plugin I'm going to create for this example, we're going to call chk default because it will run in the default host. We're going to call the plugin though when shift L blank screen. And what that's going to do is just run the blank screensaver whenever we press Win Shift L. The actual plugin looks like this. Very simple. We're going to run a thing here. It doesn't matter. It's a simple plugin. I know this is going to work. Back to Yo. We'll run the Chocolatey Hotkey generator. We're going to create a plugin. Do we want it to run on the default host? Yes, we do. Most scripts should run fine in the default host. Again, we're going to call it chk default when shift L blank screen. Oh, sorry. It's smart. It says we don't need to start with chk. Don't need to include the host either, so we'll just say when shift L blank screen. What is the title of this thing? When plus shift plus L to run the blank screensaver. We'll just leave the summary and description the same. It will be version 1.0. My name is Alex Dresko. The URL for this stuff is, virtual machines. Okay, here's the URL. A space separated list of tags for this blank screensaver. And so it generated all of the code that we need to run our... Where did I put this? Did I really put this in System 32? I sure did. Okay. Well, that's not probably the best place to create a plugin. You're really probably going to want to code chk. So move chk default2 to sequence /code chk. Okay. there's our folder. So file, open folder, code, chk. We'll just do that. So here's kind of everything that I showed you last time. And it's really pretty much identical. I have this hotkeys script that I want to paste this into, and I'll save it. And this particular plugin does require a thing, and that thing is okay. So the only thing, this plugin does require one extra file. It's this screensaver link here, and you can see when I double click on it, it blanks the screen. So that's what that does. So I have done everything I need to prepare this script to be tested. So, we need to drop in the PowerShell. This is the first time I've run PowerShell on this computer, so I have to run set execution policy remote signed. Now I can run the package script. It's been packaged for me, and then I can run test install. Oops. Okay, so the test install does not have, it doesn't care about the dependencies. It doesn't verify that all of the dependencies are installed properly. So we need to probably just install, well, we'll install the existing plugin that we did previously. So Choco install chk default dt for date time. So this is going to go out and install AutoHotkey, as you can see. It will also install chk, which is the base library for Chocolatey Hotkey. It will install the default host, and it will install the datetime plugin. And of course, if we type dt, datetime is working. Now we can test, finally, our blank screen plugin, and it runs well. So I didn't really show this, but what the plugin does is if I press Win-Shift-L, it executes that screensaver that I copied into the tools folder. So if I hit Win-Shift-L, we get a blank screen. Yay, that works. I can test uninstall. It's always good to test the install and the uninstall to make sure that everything is done properly. When you install a plugin or uninstall it, it reloads the host, so you just click yes every time. And then now Win-Shift-L does not blank the screen. Now we are ready to publish this plugin to Chocolatey. So we'll try to run the push thing, but because I've never published anything to Chocolatey, it's telling me that I need to set an API key. So if I come to chocolatey.org, I'm like, how do I install an API key? Well, it just so happens that chocolatey.org will tell you exactly how to install your API key. I have to get my password here. So if you click on your name in Chocolatey once you're logged in, you have to have an account, log in, not a big deal. You have this section here to get your API key. And if you click on this, it shows you your API key and also gives you an example usage to tell you how to install the API key. So you'll just basically copy that, paste it into your terminal window, press enter, and now your APIs and your API key has been installed. So you can again go try to push the package to Chocolatey. Had to clear my screen there. So let's try to push the package to Chocolatey. And it works. So now I can go to my mom's computer and install that package as well. Now, just to show you some other things that we can do with the Yeoman generator really quickly, I'll type Yo. You can just type Yo if you want, and it will give you a list of generators. Or you can type Yo Chocolatey Hotkey, and it will run the Chocolatey Hotkey generator automatically. So we showed how to create a plugin. We can also create libraries and hosts. A library is probably the simplest thing that you can do. It is really just a basic Chocolatey package with nothing in it besides a auto hotkey script. You would want to do this if you had a library of auto hotkey functions or variables that you wanted to use in a bunch of other Chocolatey hotkey scripts. So if you create a library, are we in the right directory? Nope, we're not. Okay, so Yo Chocolatey Hotkey, let's create a library, and we'll call this sample library. What is the title of this thing? We'll call it sample library, same summary, same description. Give it version 1.0. My name is Alex Dresco. This is the URL where I will publish this, and we'll just call it sample. We'll give it a tag of sample, and there it goes, generating all of our code. Okay, so did not really, let's see. So here is all of the code in this CHK sample library. Again, we've got a new spec file that has everything already pre-populated. And that pre-population includes any dependencies that the library requires. In this case, it only requires CHK. In the case of the Win-Shift-L blank screen package or plugin that we created, you can see that it requires the CHK host default plugin. And if we were to go look at where Chocolatey installs everything, we'll see that, so here's all the packages we've installed. We installed the DT for datetime plugin, and it requires, well, we can't see. It requires the host, the default host, which requires CHK, which requires auto hotkey. So that's how the dependency chain gets installed. Back to our sample library. All we really are concerned with is this library file here. This is all we would need to do. We can put anything in here that we want. We can create a variable called Alex and call it Alex, and that's all our library is. So any of our scripts that have a dependency on this sample library can now use this variable name. We'll include this library from our other scripts, and then they'll be able to use the variable name. That's a library. It's pretty simple. It doesn't do anything other than copy this file to well, I'll show you. So lib sample library, we'll package it, we'll test install. Now that library is installed, and if we go look at our lib folder, you can see that our sample library has been installed, and we can publish that the same way that we would publish our plugin. So the other thing that we can install, or we can create with Yeoman, with our Yeoman Chocolatey Hotkey generator, is a host. And by default, everything so far has run in the default host. That's the simplest thing to do. But let's say that you have a set of auto hotkey scripts that you want to run independently. They have to run in their own script file. They won't work necessarily in the default host for whatever reason. So we'll run yo. Let's back up a directory. Okay, so we'll run yo Chocolatey Hotkey. We'll create a host, and we'll call this host awesome. That'll be the name of this host. And the title of this thing will be awesome, summary, description, version 1.0, my name, URL, and we'll just give it a tag of awesome. That has generated all of our code. And a host by itself doesn't really do anything. If I were to chk host awesome package test install. So at this point the host is running. It's one of these. So there's our awesome host and there's our default host. But there's nothing running inside of the default host, so we need to create a plugin to run inside of that. So again, back to yo Chocolatey Hotkey. We're going to create a plugin. This question's important. Do you want to run in the default host? In this case, we do not. We want it to run in the awesome host. So we'll say no. And what is the name of the host? It is awesome. What are we going to call this awesome plugin? We'll call it Kitten. This will be the Kitten plugin for the awesome host. We'll just leave the default title, summary, description, version, my name, URL, kitties. So it has gone out and created our awesome plugin, and you see awesome kitten right here. Same kind of thing. We have but the difference here, if you notice, is that the name of the auto hotkey scripts says awesome as part of the plugin script name, and if we look at the blank screen plugin, it has default. A lot of how Chocolatey Hotkey works is based off of convention. So the only thing you really have to worry about is filling in the blanks. In this particular case, we'll create a thing that says if I type ASDF it will type kitties are cool. And this is our, I'm probably doing this in a bad spot. I'm going to do this in the hotkeys file. So, back to my plugin. I will package it. I will install it. And you see it's trying to reload our awesome host, so I'll click yes. And then if I type ASDF, it types kitties are cool. How cool is that? That's how plugins work. Maybe that's kind of vague. I don't know. I'm trying to hurry this up because my wife tells me that we need to go to the grocery store. I just kind of wanted to spin through some of these demos and hope that it makes sense, and hope that it'll encourage you to try using Chocolatey Hotkey. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll make another video to clarify things, and we'll go from there.